In this video, we're going to take a look at a few formula problems. First, let me remind you that solving a formula for a variable simply means that I'm going to rewrite the formula so that that variable is isolated on one side of the equation. Let's begin with a very familiar formula, the perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter equals twice the length plus twice the width. And we're going to solve for width, for W. So I want to start off by getting W on the left-hand side so that I will end up with W equals. Now the simplest way of doing this is just to move the right-hand side to the left and the left-hand side to the right. That way I'm not changing anybody's signs. Then I'm looking for W. So I need to get rid of this 2L. So since it's understood positive or plus 2L, I'm going to say minus 2L on both sides. Now the big difference here between this and linear equations is that on linear equations I could usually actually add that. But in this case, all I can do is tell you that I'm doing P minus 2L. Then since they multiplied by 2, I'm going to divide by 2. And I am finally left with what I wanted, W equals. Now the big question comes in, how do I leave my answer? The question is, it depends on who you're working for. Some places prefer that it be left as a fraction like this, especially if we're using calculator, if you're really heavily calculator intensive. However, other people prefer that you break it down for them. That's the perimeter divided by 2 minus 2 over 2 is 1, the length. So either one of these could be an answer, and they are equivalent equations. Now for a formula that's not quite so familiar. P equals C plus MC. Solve it for C. How, you may ask? Because I've got two C's? Well, just stay with me. We're going to still do the same. We're going to start off by moving all of my C's to the left-hand side. So I'm going to do that instead of moving things. I'm going to do that by just changing it around the equal sign. I'm going to move the right-hand side to the left and the left-hand side to the right. That is a very common start for rewriting formulas. Then, how did you add with variables? You use the distributive property. So I'm going to use the distributive property to get C, and that would be C divided by C is 1, plus MC divided by C is M. Now I only have one C. So I'm going to divide by what was multiplied by, that is 1 plus M. So divide both sides by the same number, 1 plus M. On the left-hand side, that number over itself is a 1, and 1 times C is C. On the right-hand side, I just show you that I'm going to use my division bar there as a grouping symbol and drop those parentheses. Not as difficult as it looks.